All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, November 9th edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin. I'm joined by my co-host here on Monday and Tuesday afternoons, Mr. Big Marcel. Marcel, man, how's it going, man?
All good, man. All good. Been a busy day today. Happy to do the podcast again. Previewing the UFC card, early UFC card again this weekend. So yeah, I mean, kind of a weird bout order, but hey, what are you gonna do, right?
For me, like the bout order is not something that I worry about too much. And honestly, I feel like it always comes out a few weeks early. It always ends up changing by the time the fight comes around. You're right; it's an odd one, but listen, we've been spoiled lately with the last two cards. That's what I'm looking at. When I'm looking at this card, it's like, man, the last two cards were so stacked. Now we're getting a card that's not as stacked, but that's what happens when you like have two back-to-back pay-per-views, Marcel, where it's like an insane amount of good fights. You know what I mean? So, anyways, Marcel, tweet that podcast out too, right? When you get a chance. Well, you did already.
It's because you asked so nicely. I will.
Thank you. Liam's fight. Hey, Liam, what's up, man? We got our boy Liam's fight picks. Liam picks fights, I guess. They're both the same thing, I guess. Here, early gents, looking forward to a great discussion as usual. Hey, man, glad to have you here. CM Hawks here too. What's up? Hey, man. Thoughts on the rankings update? We don't have a lot of time to talk about the other stuff, but we did see the rankings update. I'm glad Felicia Herring's out of the rankings finally. She should have never been in those rankings for like the last 2 years, probably. What was the other big change in the rankings again, Marcel? You said it to me. What was it again? Cheeto Vera. I think Cheeto should have been bumped up way more. Like he beat Frankie, who was 7, but he got up to 12. That doesn't make sense. I don't get that.
He only got 2 spots up, and Frankie got 4 spots down, but they moved Cruz one up, Munoz one up, and
why? Why did
up.
Munoz go up? Tell me why Munoz went up.
Yeah, why did Moises get one up? I have no idea.
You know what? These rankings they make me scratch my head. But I'll tell you right now, because here's the thing: Brian Heminger, who works for MMA Oddsbreaker, he's part of the ranking staff. So he works for us, guys. Go bother Brian about it. Go message Brian and harass Brian a little bit. I'm just kidding. We got John here too in the chat. Hey, John. Hey, guys. Honestly, some good fights. Yeah, there's some good ones, especially in the prelims. But the main card's not amazing. But there are some good fights, and we'll get into them. Anything else you want to talk about, Marcel, before we just jump into these fights?
Not really.
Okay, so I'm just looking on best. Again, we use UFCstats.com. We're going to use that order. Okay, so it looks like the Philippe Lins fight's been completely removed. I'm assuming they were not able to find him an opponent. Is that what happened, Marcel?
Yeah, I don't know, man. If he's still on the card, they were supposed to find somebody, but wasn't happening.
Yeah, I think they've told them, guys, because I'm looking at it's updated. They've put it into Leedsy now. They've updated the Dawkins fight. They moved it up. It looks like that fight's going to be off the card. Honestly, who was looking forward to seeing Philippe Lins in OSP? I sure wasn't. So. You were really Philippe Lins is really not an exciting guy to watch.
I said this, so no.
By the way, that was at light heavyweight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was at light heavyweight.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Let me get some more comments here. Kenshiro, hey man, I haven't seen you in a while, Kenshiro. Hope everything's well with you. UFC rankings are office politics. Very true. Hey Matt, what's up, man? Trying to hold down Cheeto. It's true. It's like I think if Sean O'Malley knocked him out with the front kick, they put him at number 5, probably number 3. You know what I mean, Marcel? Like he would have been shot way up the rank. That's just a fact. Glenn, hey Glenn, guys fighting soon get a bump in ranks. It's true. That's a fact. That happens every time someone gets a fight booked. Somehow they bump up in their rankings. Hey Nicola, what's up, man? He says, do you know who Jake Hadley's opponent is? And March 19th going to be in England. Well, I've heard they're going to start traveling again next year. Don't know anything about that, but he called it. Didn't he call it Francisco Figueiredo? I think that was the fight he won. I believe. Have you heard anything? You heard anything, Marcel? No,
nothing.
All right, let's get into the card, guys. Again, using UFC stats, the order. First fight in the card, light heavyweight bout, Kennedy and Chukwu against Da and Jung. Close fight here, according to the odds right now. We have basically a pick'em, guys. It's essentially a pick'em, slight lean towards Da and Jung, minus 115, minus 105, Kennedy and Chukwu. So you're laying juice either way, it looks like. Who do you think's going to win this one, Marcel?
Yeah, I'm probably going to fail with this one again, because I always fail to pick Kennedy's fights and fail to pick Da and Jung fights, mostly Da and Jung fights. I think Kennedy is a fun prospect, man. I really like to see him fight. He has some great power, Lost his UFC fight against Paul Craig after probably going 30-27 against him. He lost in the last 30 seconds with sub. Da and Jung. He looked good against William Knight last time out. You picked that fight very correctly. I didn't pick that fight correctly. The Sam Alvey fight is still in the back of my mind, like how, you know what I mean? So it's kind of a close fight. It's really difficult for me to pick. I kind of slightly favor Kennedy and Zetchuku, but man, Dao Jung probably will surprise me again, you know? So I'm going with Kennedy here, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is close. I mean, that's why the odds are pick 'em, guys. I think I've got a pretty good read on both guys, you know, to be honest with you. I've been pretty good at picking their fights recently anyways. They're both good. I think Kennedy's kind of a bad matchup for Dan Jung because to me, he's going to be a guy that's really hard to take down. And on the feet, he just keeps walking forward. And I look back at that Sam Alvey fight, and I feel like he can do the same thing and have more success, if anything. I don't know if he knocks him out, but I think Dan Jung's going to kind of tee off on Kennedy early, run out of gas, and like Kennedy does, just takes over the fight. He's got great cardio and a good chin. Maybe a late stoppage like he has in the last two fights. I don't know, Marcel. I'm leaning towards Kennedy as well. It's definitely close, but I think, you know, if he survives that first round, like he should have a good chance to win this fight because again, he takes over late, man. Good cardio. He's a big dude. He's got a reach advantage in this fight. Pretty like Dao Jung is a huge guy too, but Kennedy's even bigger than him. And I feel like Dao Jung, one of the reasons that I really liked him against William Knight is because he's so much bigger than him. He's not going to have that advantage in this fight. He's going to have to probably stand on the feet with this guy, and Kennedy's just range and his power, I think, is going to give him problems. So I'm leaning towards Kennedy to win the fight. Marcel, like I said, decision or late stoppage, but I'm actually with you on this one. Matt says Macy Barber pulled out. She did. Miranda Maverick filled in against who is it? Aaron Blanchfield, UFC 269. Lynn says it might be worth live betting Macheku after round one. Yes, like the last fight with the Noah Marquez. It's funny because I bet on Kennedy. I fully expect him to lose the first round, right? Lost the first two, and then you see what happens in the third. I don't think you should have got a bonus for that, by the way, because I think when you lose 2 rounds and you just, you know, the other guy gasses out, you should get a bonus. But listen, he knows how to win fights, man. And if he didn't lose to Paul Craig, I think he'd be a much bigger favorite here, you know? That fight was 20 seconds away from him winning. So I think the guy's a little bit underrated in general, and I think this could be a good fight for him. So I'm going to go with Kennedy. All right, Marcel, lightweight bout, Mark Diakiese against Rafael Alves, the turn. The odds for this one, -175 for Mark Diakiese, +155 for the turn. What do you think, man? Who do you think's going to win this one? And we got our boy Alex Bakunin in the chat. What's going on, Alex? Go ahead, Marcel. Give your pick.
Yeah, man. I'm still kind of high on Rafael Alves, man. I think he's a very good fighter. He made his debut in the UFC against Ismagulov. Hurt Ismagulov in the first round. And after that, he lost, obviously. But he hurt him in the first round. Was supposed to make his debut at 145, actually, against Pat Sabatini. That didn't happen. Now at 155 against Mark Diakiese. I think Diakiese is a good striker, but I'm not sold on his grappling, you know what I mean? And I think Alves is more complete overall, in my opinion. So I'm going to take an underdog here, man. I think Alves going to win here. I don't know if he's going to stop him, but I'm taking him via decision here.
Yeah, we got CM Hawk saying Jung is the best new fighter for Korea, breaking the rankings right now. Choi and Park got finished recently. That's true. I was surprised Park got KO'd like that. But anyways, as far as this fight goes, okay, so I think both guys are pretty good. My initial lean was towards Alves because I think he's underrated, Marcel, and we talked about him against Ismagulov, and I was saying, hey, I think this guy is a little better than those +400 underdog odds are, and he knocked him down in the first 10 seconds. Now, I think he went for guillotine, ended up on his back, and just the fight, didn't play out the way he wanted it to, but that was impressive. Having said that, though, I think with Mark, I just haven't seen him fight in so long. I kind of forgot how he fought. I knew he was a decent striker, but I did watch back a few of his fights, not completely all through them, but just kind of skipping through them. And one thing that I noticed that he's a better grappler than I gave him credit for. He's actually a decent wrestler, and I think overall he's probably a slightly better fighter and a little bit more solid. So because he has that grappling that I didn't even remember he had, I'm going to lean towards Diakiese to win a decision in this one, Marcel. But Alves is definitely solid, and he's probably a little bit of a live dog too. But I'm going to lean towards Diakiese. Kenshiro says Diakiese's only 28. He's young, and yeah, I know that's the thing. He's been in the UFC for a while, and he's still. I hope he's improving. I mean, I really don't know. We haven't seen him fight in over a year. But again, he had a tough fight at Fiziev when he did that crazy Matrix thing, where he put his head back. So this guy's had a tough strength of schedule, guys, in the UFC. He's had really tough opposition, and again, he beat Joseph Duffy because he kind of wrestled him. That's impressive, for me. So, and same with Landon Venata too. So I'm thinking he can out wrestle Alvarez. I think he's gonna. I don't even know if it's gonna be a striking based fight. I think he might try to wrestle him instead. All right, let's go to the next fight here, Marcel. We have a women's flyweight bout. Courtney Casey against Liana Jojua. Minus 220 for Courtney Casey, plus 180 for Liana Jojua. What do you think, Marcel?
Yeah, this is actually I'm pretty clear on this one, to be really honest, man. I think Courtney Casey. The thing with Courtney Casey is she's involved in a lot of split decisions. And Liana Jojua isn't just as good as many people think. I think, man, I'm just really not sold on her. She defeated Belbita in the first round via armbar, but she got stopped via ground and pound by Sarah Morris, and she lost to Maverick with that cut on her face. I'm just not sold on Jojua. She hasn't impressed me at all. And Courtney Casey, I don't want to talk shit about. I kind of feel like she's declining as well, kind of, but I still think she is better than Jojua. So I would take Casey fight decision here.
I'm not buying Casey as a minus 220 favorite at all. I mean,
I agree with that.
She has a 99 professional record, and I think she has a sub 500 record in the UFC. I'm going to double check right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-8 record in the UFC, and she's favored at minus 220. I don't agree with that at all, guys. I mean, listen, Courtney Casey is a decent fighter. She loses almost every decision she goes to, though, which is a worry against anyone when the judges get involved that often. And here's the number one problem I have with her game. She has no problem going on her back and just lying there and hacking for submissions, and I don't know if it's going to work here. And listen, Jojua is not that good, obviously. She's not that good, right? She's 1-2 in the UFC, but she's super young. She's only 26. She can still improve. She's training at the Performance Institute now. She's a good grappler. The book's out on Courtney Casey, guys. I think this is a good spot to take an underdog. I really do. I think this girl can get Casey down and grind her out and win decision. So
I wouldn't do it, Adam. I wouldn't pick any of them, to be really honest.
Any of who?
I wouldn't parlay or put money on any.
Totally understood. Totally get that. This is probably a pass, but I think it's dog or pass. I think this. I'm not saying she's good. I'm not at all. She hasn't looked good in the UFC, but I just think Courtney Casey's very beatable, guys. She can get put in her back very easy. Your takedown defense, 38%. It's really bad. I've just seen her lose too many times, Marcel. Again, her records in the UFC is just terrible. So I don't trust her anymore, guys. And I think this is a spot to bet against her. I'm not buying this girl as a favorite, minus 220. Even Kenshiro says the same thing. He said he said the same thing. Yeah, I agree, Kenshiro. It's just as like principle of things, she shouldn't be favored that much. I understand that she's favored, but she opened at minus 150. That's probably more accurate. You know what I mean? But honestly, I think Jojua can win this fight. She impressed. I'm not saying she impressed me, but she's intrigued me a little bit because she is so much younger and she is training at new camp. And I just think she has the style to give Casey problems if he just commits to grappling her. Because, again, this girl has some nasty submissions, too. She submitted Belbita, right? Coming off a great win in her last fight. So that win looks better.
You're just looking forward to see Diana Afsaragova in her corner, let's be honest.
and that, too. All right, let me get these comments. Yeah, he's talking about Jung. He's got a long win streak, but this might be the fight he loses. Cole Shellen says, hey, Cole, Matt Mitchell's on that Triller fight card with Frank Mir and Mike Perry, Albert Tumanov, and Derek Campos. Wow, Tumanov's on the card, too, eh? That's crazy. Good for them. The Tumanov changed management, I guess. Was he with Ali? I want to say he was with Ali, right?
I think he was with Ali, but he tweeted recently out with tagging the Kawa brothers in it. So
okay, so maybe you know what? I think I saw something, so maybe that's good. Maybe I think Abe Kawa got him. All right, let's go to the next fight, guys. Sean Woodson against Colin Anglin. Minus 320 for Sean Woodson, plus 260 Colin Anglin. Cole Shelton interviewed Sean Woodson for DJ Penn. Check that interview out. What are your thoughts on this one, Marcel?
Difficult, man. Really difficult. I'm still high on Colin Anglin. I think he's a good fighter. Didn't show it in the Melsik Bagdasarian fight last time out, but I mean, I really feel he's a good fighter. You know what I mean? I really like him, what I saw so far of him in the regional scene and on the Contender Series. If you look at Sean Woodson, also came via the Contender Series in the UFC. I feel like this is a really hard fight for me because I don't really feel like Woodson. I don't see Woodson as something special at all, to be really honest. But I feel like he has a possibility to win this fight somehow. Still, I think Anglin is the better fighter, man. I'm going with Anglin in this one, man. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think Anglin gets a decision here.
I don't think you're crazy. I think he's got a chance. The line is too high. I agree with that. Woodson's decent. He's not great. And Anglin's probably a little underrated because he got knocked out with that head kick. I picked him in that fight. It was a bad pick, obviously, but I watched him pretty closely coming up, and guy's not bad, but I don't know, man. That fight bothered me. And again, one of the biggest things in this fight is it's just, this guy is such a long reach advantage, Marcel, on the height. Like, I just see Woodson, he's getting better at using that stuff. We saw it in the last fight against Zalal. I kind of feel like it's kind of a similar matchup in a way because Zalal will probably Anglin will probably try to shoot for takedowns like Zalal did. But you look at that fight and, man, he stuffed 15 of the 17 takedown attempts. So I think he is getting better at the takedown defense. On the feet, I just see Anglin having some issues getting inside of this guy because he's got such a long reach. The fight with Arosa bothers me still, Marcel, the way he got choked out in that third round. I just don't know if Anglin's got that same danger factor on the ground, especially. So, I think the fight's a little closer, guys, than the odds are saying. But honestly, like, as much as I wanted to pick Anglin at first as a big dog, I got to go with Sean Woodson here. I just think he outpoints him and wins the decision, Marcel. CM Hawk says he suggested Imavov and Hall, but Imavov and Till makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense, but I just think Till probably should go back down to 170, Marcel. I think at this point, Any thoughts on that?
Can he still make 170? And does he want to make 170? That's the story, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's go to the next fight. Miguel Baez against Chaos Williams. Great fight. Miguel Baez minus 135, Chaos Williams plus 115. What do you think, Marcel?
How is this fight not on the main card? I mean, first of all,
this should be opening the main card, right?
Yeah, this is a banger,
Yeah.
Baez, I still think he is a future top 10 fighter in the division. That's how I see him. He's training at MMA Masters. He's training with Colby. He's a very good fighter. He lost his last fight against Santiago Ponzinibbio. I think it was a fight of the night. He didn't lose stock, in my opinion. It's kind of for me, it's kind of equivalent to Burgos against Willie Carantillo last time. Carantillo lost that fight, but he didn't lose stock to me. And same goes for Baez. If you look at Chaos Williams, man, dude has knockout power. We all know that in his first 2 UFC fights. Then he lost a close fight to Pereira, and he wanted to get Semmelsberger last time out. So for me, it's like, who is the more technical fighter, in my opinion, is Baez. The guy with the harder knockout power probably is Chaos Williams. So for me, it's like if Baez can survive the first round, probably like he did with Matt Brown. Remember, he will probably take over in the second and third round. So I go with Baez via decision, but it will be a fun fight, I think.
Yeah, this should be on the main card, and I think it's gonna be a fun fight too. Two guys that probably will stand and strike, right? So it should be entertaining. I'm leaning towards Baez too. I am a little disappointed with the way he lost the last fight. I think he should have won that fight. Losing to Ponzinibbio at this point was career I didn't love. That's probably why I'm not going to bet on him in this fight, just because he didn't win that last one. But I still am high in the guy. It's just, Chaos is decent. He matches up well too, right? Because they're both strikers. And Chaos probably has a little bit more pure power, but I just think Baez is probably the more technical striker. And over the course of the 3 rounds, probably just outpoints him. So hopefully he doesn't slow down in that third round like he did against Ponzinibbio, because, man, he had that fight in the bag, and then he just started getting tired halfway through that third round and lost. But I still believe in the guy. I think he wins. I'm going to pick Miguel Baez in a win decision. Get these comments. Born again. Julian Arosa he's talking about. Underrated. Yeah, Jordan, Woodson, Landwehr. Those wins look a lot better now, don't they? Especially that Landwehr win.
Yeah.
CM Hawk saying this is next week. Cards have weird lineups. Yeah, I don't know who does the lineups sometimes. Again, it's not, we get to watch the fights either way, but you're right. It's always better if the guys are high up in the card. John says James Lynch tweeted the interview. Chris Curtis and Curtis might fight next month. That's awesome. Don't tell me they're going to give him Khamzat Chimaev. Please don't tell me that's the fight they're going to do, because I know why they want Khamzat to be in the card. Maybe they'll do maybe he'll go back to 170 fight like Magny or something, because I know Neil's looking for a fight. I don't know. I'm curious to hear if he did tell James. All right, let's go to the next fight. Cynthia Calvillo against Andrea Lee. Marcel, women's, was it the flyweight division, and minus 120 Calvillo, plus 100 for Andrea Lee. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty convinced in this one as well. I mean, Cynthia Calvillo, yes, she comes back from that knockout loss in September 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago, actually, against Jessica Andrade. But if you look at Andrea Lee, yeah, in her last fight, she defeated Antonina Shevchenko. Before that, she lost 3 in a row. Although I think the Lauren Murphy fight was kind of controversial. But to be really honest, I think Calvillo is better than Lee everywhere. You know what I mean? So I see Calvillo probably finding this a safe fight and winning a decision here.
Yeah, this is close. I think the odds look both right to me. Slightest of leans to Calvillo, which is kind of what I'm thinking too, Marcel. But the slightest of leans. I think she probably just has the better wrestling and wins the decision here. That's what I think happens. And again, Andrea Lee a couple fights ago got taken down by Roxanne Modafferi controlled. I know she looked great in her last fight. She looked really good against Antonina, but we know Antonina has no ground game whatsoever. So it's hard to give her too much credit for that win. And I just look at this fight, Calvillo. She's not great, and she hasn't looked great lately with the last two fights. But she does have decent wrestling, and I think she'll probably have get enough takedowns here to just grind out a decision. So that's what I'm looking at as well, Marcel. I'm pretty sure that fight goes the distance either way. Let's go to the next fight here. I believe it's the last prelim. We got Thiago Moises against Joel Alvarez. Great fight. Minus 250. Moises plus 210. Joel Alvarez. Give me your thoughts on this one, Marcel.
Yeah, this is also a fight that could have been on the main card, in my opinion. Thiago Moises was on a 3-fight win streak until he met Islam Makhachev and he lost in the 4th round. Alvarez has actually looked pretty good since his loss in his debut against Damir Ismagulov, man. 3 wins in a row, all 3 by finishes. I think the Yakovlev fight was an amazing armbar win, Man, this is actually a very tough fight to call, in my opinion, because Thiago Moises, we saw him many times in the UFC. I think he's a very decent fighter, but the top guys he struggles with, in my opinion. Alvarez, he fought one top guy. Ismagulov is a top guy, in my opinion. For many people, maybe not, but for me, he is. But Moises fought him as well. Both guys lost to him. For me, Alvarez, I really believe in Alvarez, man. I started to believe in him recently, and I think he can do work against Moises. But who has the better ground game? Maybe Moises, man. So it's difficult. I don't know what is the line here, but I kind of feel like Alvarez can win this fight.
Moises is a favorite, minus 250. Alvarez plus 210 underdog.
Then I'm going with the dog here. I'm going with Alvarez.
I'm with you on this one too. Wow. So I guess we have a consensus dog here. I wasn't sure if you're going to pick him, honestly, because I know you like the guy. I do too. And honestly, I'm just not sold on Thiago Moises. I never have been. I don't know if he's as good as people think. He edged by a couple guys. He edged by Green and Hernandez. He was losing to Johnson when ends up winning. He hasn't really blown me away in the UFC. Whereas Alvarez has really looked good, man. He's finishing guys in devastating fashion. Marcel, super dangerous dude. All his wins are by stoppages in his career. I mean, listen, there's obviously a good chance he just gets planted on his back here for 50 minutes, and that's one of the issues with the fight, because that's probably gonna end up on the ground because this guy likes to be there, right? And it's hard to say he's going to catch Moises, who's only been tapped out once by Makhachev, but he did get submitted in his last fight. And Alvarez is dangerous enough, I think, to submit him. I just look at this guy as having, a lot of danger in his game, Marcel. He can finish you standing on the ground, and, I know he's a fought in a year. I don't like betting on guys coming off layoffs, but again, he's plus 210 here. I think it's dog or pass, Marcel. Moises is good. I don't think he's great. And I think it's, Moises is only 4-3 in the UFC, by the way. He's lost to good guys, but it's not a great record. He's beatable. He's very beatable. His record's 15-5. So he can be beaten, guys. And I think people overrate him a little bit. So we'll see, Marcel, but I think it's a spot to take a dog too. Joel Alvarez, man. That's my prediction. Let's get these comments. Big difference quality of previous opponents. I agree with that too, but I mean, to me, I know Joe Duffy's not in the UFC anymore, but the way he ran through him was very impressive, Marcel. And Yakovlev is not a terrible fighter, man. He's got a lot of wins in the UFC too. So it's not a great win by any means, but it's decent, Moises, really, he probably shouldn't have beat Bobby Green. So his best win is Hernandez, who had, he's very inconsistent, or Michael Johnson, who was winning the fight and then got submitted like he does in almost every fight. I'm just not sold on the guy. I don't know. I don't know, Marcel. I honestly feel like Thiago Moises is a little bit of an overrated fighter. I'm not really convinced he's a top 15 guy. The only reason I think he's there is because he beat Bobby Green. I don't think that, he should have even probably won that fight. Cut these comments. CM Hawk, how do you think Gaethje would do against Riddell and Fiziev? I mean, I think he'd do well against everyone, man. He's just really good. Born Again says he likes Moises by decision. Fair enough. Born Again, 4 prelim fights are better than co-main and Spencer fights. I don't know why Spencer's on the main card and Letson. Stupid. Blood Money, made that's a great breakdown. Hey, man, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. All right, let's go to the main card now.
Adam,
go ahead.
If they wanted to have absolutely a women's fight on the main card, put Calvillo and Lee on it. You know what I mean? And why would you do Spencer Letts?
I don't get it. I don't get it. We'll talk about that fight in a few minutes. So, all right, let's go to this one. Song Yadong, Julio Arce, opening up the main card. Minus 130 for Song Yadong, plus 110 Arce. What do you think?
Man, Julio Arce, he's one of my favorites, man. I love watching the dude fight. He actually fought at 135 before coming to the UFC, went to 145. Didn't have to cut any weight, and now, he told me he was going to go back to 135 because the guys at 145 were too big for him, he said. Still, he only lost 2 split decisions at 145, but won everything else. Had a great 135 debut in the UFC against Andre Ewell last time out, stopped him. Now fighting Song Yadong. Song Yadong with a split decision last time out against Casey Kenny, should have been unanimous in my opinion. For that, lost to Kylo Phillips, and actually should have lost to Marlon Vera and Cody Stamen as well, in my opinion. I'm taking Arce here, man. I don't know what the line is, but Arce will win this fight any day, in my opinion, via unanimous decision.
You got to listen to what I say in the lines, Marcel. We got minus 130 for Yadong, plus 110 for Arce. Arce is a small underdog. Does that change your thoughts at all?
No, I'm still going with Arce.
That's fair. I think it's a competitive fight too, but I'm leaning towards Yadong. He's so much younger, Marcel. I just think the guy can make so many improvements. He's only 24, 23. 23. Turns 24 next month. He's so young. I do think this is a tough fight because Arce's look good at bantamweight, obviously, but I do think Arce's beatable too. I think he can be outstruck. I think he can be dropped too. So I think Yadong's got more power, and I think he's probably the cleaner striker overall. Arce looked great in his last fight. I think it's going to be a fun fight to watch, but I got to go with Song Yadong, Marcel. The guy's super young, super good. And yes, I agree with you about those fights that he should have lost. I agree, but the fact he's winning these fights, I mean, the judges obviously like his style too. So I think he gets the job done by decision here. Go ahead.
That fight against Stamen, he even had a point deducted. Impossible to get a draw there, man. Really impossible.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's get these comments. Seahawks says, guess the UFC wants to balance between prelims and main card, especially for pay-per-views, because they was putting big names on the ESPN prelims. Arce could be a 6-0 in the UFC, but 2 split decisions. That's true. He's good. I mean, he's definitely a good fighter. But I like Yadong a little bit more. Again, the youth. He's also training. I think he's training at a better camp. I think Faber's camp right now is a little better than Tiger Schulman. I think. All right, let's go to the next fight. Roman Dolidze against Kyle Daukaus right now. Marcel, we got Daukaus minus 225. He's the favorite, plus 185 for the underdog Roman Dolidze. So what do you think about this one?
Yeah, he should be the favorite in my opinion. Kyle Daukaus, we had that last fight with Kevin Holland, where I think we both picked Daukaus to win that fight, and it went to a no contest. Was supposed to be happening in the rematch here, but Colin pulled out, and now we're getting Dolidze because Dolidze had no opponent since Arrogandus pulled out. Mm-hmm. So Dolidze in his last fight, one of the no disrespect, but one of the most horrible fights I saw in a long time against Laureano Staropoli, did what he had to do, won the fight via decision. For that, lost to Trevin Giles in the fight. I think I had him winning in that fight, 29-28. I'm not 100% sure. And the John Allen fight, also not a great one. And Khadis Ibrahimov, your favorite fighter. So now against Kyle Daukaus. I think Kyle Daukaus is a very talented guy. He got I kind of out-wrestled by Phil Haas when he fought him. But I'm really high on the dude. I think he's a really good fighter, just like his brother. In my opinion, he should win this fight. I think he is much more talented than Roman Dolidze. Maybe you absolutely disagree with me, or people disagree with me, but I think Daukaus should win this fight. He just has to be active and shouldn't get taken, or he should make sure he doesn't get on his back by Dolidze. You know what I mean? But he should be able to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This is a pretty close fight, I think, but I'm leaning towards Daukaus too. Dolidze, I just watched that fight back with Laureano Staropoli. So disappointing. What is an awful fight to watch. And he dropped all his weight to make 185, just not really being effective with it. That fight was just him holding Staropoli against the fence. He got taken down 3 times, which is so bad. Against the guy who's so small at that weight class, you can't really wrestle. Daukaus is a better grappler. Daukaus, I think, is the tougher guy. I think he's got the better cardio, got more heart. I think he wins a decision, Marcel, probably. Be nice to see him get that Darce again or whatever it was. Guillotine. I can't remember what he had now, but this time no funny business. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to the next fight here. Felicia, here's your favorite fight, Marcel, on the card. Felicia Spencer and Leia Letson. I got to give my boy Cole a shout out again because he interviewed both of them. And I completely forgot who Leia Letson was, I'll be honest with you, Marcel. Like, because she had the one fight in the UFC 3 years ago. Like, you know, why is she on the main card? You know, it just doesn't make sense. I don't get it, but I do recommend watching the interview with Cole with her because she talks about all these health issues she's had. She talks about how she's in the U.S. I think she's in the Army, so she's not even a full-time fighter really. Like right now, she's training full-time, but she's after this fight, she's going back to the Army for 6 months or something. Like I don't know. It's just someone to me. It looks like someone with a lot of her foot in a different piles or her hand in a different bunch of jars, and she's taking on someone Spencer. I don't think she's great, but she is a former title challenger. She's got a lot of experience. She has a good ground game. Marcel, I mean, even though I just look at Spencer and don't think she should be minus 300 against anyone, minus 290, I still got to pick her against Leia Letson, who's plus 245. Give me your thoughts on this one, but I'm telling you right now, I'm going with Spencer to win decision.
Well, I won't say what I said on the Dutch podcast about this fight, but yeah, I'm going with Spencer fight decision as well. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Let's keep it at that. You know what I mean? I have nothing else to say. It's a Spencer fight decision. It's not a fight I'm looking forward to. I have no idea how this can be before the co-main event. Like I said, if you want to have a women fight on the card, on the main card, put Lee and Calvillo on it. Much more popular girls in a much more division that matters. You know what I mean? But,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I pick Spencer as well. You know, I think she has been more active. She went 5 rounds with Amanda Nunes, right?
Yep.
So I pick her. And last time Letson fought was in the Ultimate Fighter finale against Tolarenko, right? The split decision win. So yeah, Spencer decision. There you go.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, she might sub her too. I should mention in the interview, she said that she wants to submit her in the first round. That's kind of what she's thinking is going to happen, maybe. But you know, Letson's not. She's not too she's not terrible. Like where she get taken down right away, like I think like Megan Anderson did. So probably go a little bit longer. Get these comments. Kishiro says Felicia Spencer wins using her face to tire out the newcomer. She's probably just going to grind her out. It's a fight I could fall asleep during. It wasn't such a fantastically early card. That's funny. All right, 2 fights left. Ben Rothwell versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Not really a co-main event fight, but it is what it is. Minus 150, Ben Rothwell, plus 130 for de Lima. What do you think, Marcel?
Yeah, I mean, I always like Ben Rothwell. I think he's a character, you know, and he's also a pretty good fighter, man. You know what I mean? His stand-up is okay. I think his ground game is surprising sometimes, you know. If you look at Marcos Rogerio de Lima, yeah, I still don't know what to think about him after how long he's in the UFC now? 7 years, 8 years?
Yep.
I still don't know what his stock is,
I know.
to be honest. I'm going to go crazy. I think Ben Rothwell gets another go-go choke in the first round. So I'm taking that.
I don't think you're crazy. I'm going to tell you right now, I fucking agree with you completely. I like Ben Rothwell by submission in this fight, too. I'm looking at odds right now, plus 550 if you have that DraftKings.
Nice.
That's what I'm looking at, Marcel. I'll tell you why I'm looking at it. Because number one, I think Rothwell is good with the submissions. But number two, you look at how de Lima's lost in the UFC. He has 5 losses by submission.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Rothwell is really good in the ground. I think Ben can choke him out, Marcel, because I think what's going to happen here is Lima's going to get tired, and Rothwell's eventually going to find a way to get him to the ground and get that nasty go-go choke that he gets on guys. He's had multiple of them in the UFC now. The guy's an underrated grappler, man. He submitted Josh Barnett, for God's sakes. I also think he's probably the better striker, too. Maybe not as much like pure one-punch power, but I think he's the tougher guy, better durability. Probably a better card, probably a little bit better cardio. I don't know. de Lima looked pretty good in his last fight. I will say that against Green. He fought a smart fight, took him down. I don't think he can do that to Ben Rothwell. So he's gonna have to either stand the feet where you're gonna fight a guy who's basically it's like almost impossible to knock out Ben Rothwell. Like when was the last time he's been knocked out? Like I want to say it was Arlovsky, right? Or Kane. I mean, Kane knocked him out. So
yeah,
12 years ago, he's almost impossible to drop Marcel. Like OSP dropped him, I guess, but that's about it. Got to go with Rothwell, man. I think he gets the submission, Marcel. So I'm with you on this one. Ken Shiro says, don't bet against heavyweight cans. Minus 150 is great value. It's not bad. I think he wins the fight, but I'm looking at that prop by submission because I do think he can submit him. And I'm with Marcel. I'm glad he said that because that's what I think happens. Or again, Rothwell and Spencer fight such a buzzkill heading in the main event. I agree. Rothwell Barnett might be the most underrated oh my god moment in MMA history. Dude, I bet and picked Rothwell that day as an underdog, but did I expect her to win by go-go choke or whatever? No. And I was going crazy. That was the same card. Well, that was a rough card because I remember I bet on freaking Sage Northcutt when he fought Barbarina. That was brutal, and he gets destroyed in that fight and just completely exposed. But I also had Rumble. Rumble fought Bader that night. I remember that card.
It almost had the same feeling like when when Gonzaga knocked out Krokop.
Yeah. It's like a guy submitting or finishing out his signature move, right? It's always crazy. Glenn says Lima's been alternating wins and losses 11 fights. Knows he's due for a loss. We'll bet on Rothwell. He knows that Christ caught cheat. Yeah, that's the other thing. He does have that long trend of wins and losses for like the last 10 fights. So something to keep in mind. But again, that's something I took into consideration for a few fights this year, and it doesn't always play out, but it is something to keep in mind. All right, let's go to the main event, guys. Last fight in the card here. Max Holloway versus Yair Rodriguez. Max Holloway is a minus 700 favorite, plus 500 for Yair Rodriguez. Here's my thoughts quickly, and I'll get Marcel's thoughts after. My thoughts are this, the line opened at minus 375, and I got to be honest with you guys, I thought that was low. I thought 400, 500 was probably a more reasonable number. Now it's a 700. It's getting out of that range where you can even bet on it, I think. But does anyone really see Yair Rodriguez winning this fight? I don't. I think Max wins, right? Like Max wins the fight. So to me, instead of thinking that minus 700, I think you got to think about the fight a little bit harder and either go with the knockout or decision. And for me, Marcel, I think he knocks him out. I think he finishes him because, Yair's a good fighter, but I just see him being completely overwhelmed with the volume in this fight, and eventually I think he breaks, and I think he kind of just doesn't want to be in there. Or the doctor stops the fight because it's so much damage on his face, like the Frankie Edgar fight where the doctor stopped it. So I'm looking at Max Holloway by TKO, Marcel. I'm going to say right now, I like him. I love him to win this fight, but I think he finishes the fight more so. So that's what I'm looking at, Marcel, in the main event here. I think Max Holloway TKOs at Rodriguez probably like third, fourth round. Maybe cause a doctor stop here. I just think he's going to pour the volume on and eventually get him out of there. What do you think, Marcel? Give me your thoughts on the main event.
Yeah, man. Yair Rodriguez's best win is his last second spinning elbow knockout against Korean Zombie, a fight he was losing 4-1. Listen, man, I like the dude, but I have no idea how he became number 3 ranked in the UFC. His last win is against Jeremy Stevens. Yeah. I mean, this is a golden opportunity, a golden ticket for Yair. If he wins this fight, he's next for the title.
Yep.
By winning against pretty much nobody in the top 10 at this moment. I think, Korean Zombie.
Let me just say quickly though. To be fair, he does have the win over Dan Hooker, which is a top 10 win.
That's
different
years
division.
Ago.
It's still in his resume or so. We can't just take away a room because it was 6 years ago. He also has that win over Caceres, which looks better. That's all I'm going to say.
100% true, but it's years ago, Adam.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the reasons I'm picking against him here. I know what you're saying. We got to give. You can't just take away his wins. You
don't take it away at all. But I don't really take it in consideration with how it is right now. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
Holloway all the way. I think him via stoppage, TKO, second or third round.
There you go.
I think he's finishing Yair. And the volume, the volume will be way too much for Yair, in my opinion. Yeah. And Yair definitely has a puncher's chance. Don't get me wrong. He can knock him out. You saw it with Korean Zombie. If he lands an elbow on Max will go night as well. But I don't see that happening. I think Max will secure his title shot. So yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, my 700 looks high, but it's probably fair. Yeah. Get these comments. Tristan. Hey, Tristan. Yes, that's true. I think he's got the most strikes absorbed without being knocked down, which is crazy. So he's due for a knockdown. I just don't know if this is the fight. But Yair's dangerous on the feet. He is. It's just Yair's one of these guys that he's got to land one strike. He can't beat you like Max can with just extreme volume. He's got to land that one shot. And even if he does land the shot, I don't know if he puts Max out, right? Or again, Yair's explosive, but not impossible. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that. He is explosive. But I'm with you on this too. Max by Pico in the third, fourth, and fifth. And I was just looking at those props, guys. Like it's like plus 1,000. I don't love playing round props because it's hard to predict. But I mean, I think we kind of see a late stoppage, just kind of like those other fights. So I'm with you. Kenshiro, Max has that poor hungry village boy will they keep fighting? Yeah, I think he's gonna. I think he. I see. I'm not calling Yair a quitter because he's not, but I think I see a little more quit in him. Like, I think you look at that Frankie fight, like he can get out of the fight. I don't think Max is going to want out of the fight, if that makes sense. Max is one of the best and most entertaining fighters of our generation. Underappreciated, love his fights. He's really good, no doubt about it. Again, he should have beat Volkanovski, so he really should be on a 2-fight win streak. Guy's great. He does have a few losses in the UFC, but overall, awesome fighter, future Hall of Famer. And again, I'm looking at that streak of wins he had, Marcel. 3rd, 4th round finishes against Ortega, Aldo twice, and Pettis. So 3rd, 4th round finish, for Max Holloway, guys. I'm with you guys on this one. I just don't. I know Calvin Kattar survived somehow. I don't know if Max can do that. So that's my thoughts, Marcel. I think that's it for this card. We went through the 12 fights. So you haven't heard anything about Philippe wins? That's correct? Nothing.
No, nothing.
Okay.
I think he got pulled, but I'm not sure.
Okay, no worries. All right, let's talk about Bellator 271. We'll shift gears, guys. We're not going to go through the whole card. We'll talk about a few fights, though. So let's start with the big fight here, Marcel, the main event. Minus 3,000 for Cris Cyborg. Plus 1,600 for Sinead Kavanagh. Man, it's just like we talk about these UFC fights. They're just like you scratch your head and you're like, man, how do I even pick this fight? And then you go look at Bellator and it's just like come on, guys. Like, why did they even book this fight? Come on. Cris Cyborg wins, first or second round by stoppage. What do you think, Marcel?
Yeah, should we even talk about it? Yeah.
It's just I don't get it. Like there was no one else. Why isn't Kavanagh getting the fight? Anyways?
I have no idea.
Why'd they sign her? She doesn't even want to fight, it seems like. I know she's suing Halle Berry or something. She never fights. All right. Linton Vassell against Tyrell Fortune, heavyweight bout. Fortune minus 170, plus 140 for Vassell. I'm leaning towards Fortune, Marcel, with the wrestling. What do you think?
Yeah, likewise. I think Fortune will do work. So, yeah, I have him also.
Aaron Pico against Justin Gonzalez at featherweight. Aaron Pico minus 360, plus 285 for Gonzalez. Pico is, so good. Ever since the fight with Zach Freeman, I think that was his first fight. And what was the other fight? The Borge fight. I can't bet on him, Marcel. I can't put money on him anymore, but I do enjoy watching him fight. I just don't trust him for my money, basically.
He's super talented, but also super inconsistent, still young. And it will be a tough fight against Justin Gonzalez for sure. You know what I mean?
I think Gonzalez is good, man. This is not an easy fight by any means. That guy, he was on Contender Series, and Dana White passed on him. They should have signed him. He's good.
It's actually crazy, man. When you see some guys at Bellator, they get they build them really up with kind of easy matchups. And Aaron Pico, he doesn't get easy matchups, in Bellator. It's maybe he wants that. I don't know. Maybe he requests that he wants to have tough matchups, and would be. I mean, I would respect that if he does, But I feel like sometimes they should. This is a guy who can be really good, in the next couple of years, and if they build him up a little bit more slowly than they did, But
yeah, no doubt about it. Arlene Blencow versus Pam Sorensen. We're not going to talk about this fight in the podcast. We're just not going to spend our time. I was kidding. Minus 450 for Blencow, plus 350 Sorensen. My prediction goes to split decision. Like every single one of Pam Sorensen's fights go to split decision. Marcel, I think she's been 10 straight split decisions or something. Let me check her record. So she has 11 fights in her career. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 of them have went to split decision. She's 11 fights. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Blencow should win, and then Steve Mowry should also beat Rakeem Cleveland. He's at minus 600 favorite.
Steve Mowry is actually a guy I really like.
He's good. He's a good prospect, man. He should beat Rakeem Cleveland. This is a fight he should win. This is what Bellator does. And then again, look at the prelims. I'm looking at the odds here. You got guys are like Cody Law again. They like this guy and they're building him up slow, but can they give him someone who's like even got a win in their career? Like, come on, Marcel. Like he's minus 2,000 again. You also have this guy Roman Feraldo. He's minus 1,000. He's fighting some guy who's like 40 years old. And then you have this guy. What's crazy? There was an odds for this fight: Mahmoud Fadzi Sebi against Ethan Hughes. The odds makers open as a pick'em, and now the one guy's minus 1,400. They completely blew that line. The Mahmoud Fadzi Sebi guy or whatever, Marcel. I think you know him a little bit.
Yeah, it's just the guy who's super hyped by
wrestler or whatever, right? Yeah. The crazy thing is they open as a pick'em, and now he's minus 1,400. That's the craziest line move I've probably ever seen. I mean, that's insane. That's so crazy. Oh my god, they just blew that line. It happens though. It's tough, these guys open so many lines these days that you're gonna eventually blow some. There's also that LFA card as well, but we don't have time to talk about that. I don't know, Marcel. I mean, we did UFC. And the other thing is what Cole just mentioned to me with that card. All those guys, like, is that MMA? I don't even know. Is that even what? MMA? The one with Mike Perry and Frank Mir, is that boxing?
I have no idea at all. I haven't looked into it, to be really honest.
Yeah, I know it's very bizarre. Let's just go do a little bit of news and we'll get out of here probably a few minutes early today. Let's see here. What we got out here? All right. Well, you do have Marlon Vera calling up Merab. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. What do you think, Marcel? Is that the fight to make? Marlon Vera Merab? No? What's the fight to make?
What's the fight to make for Marlon Vera? That's a good question. Yeah, not Merab, I think.
Maybe the winner of Munoz and Cruz. That's next month.
Yeah, why not? They are still ranked above him somehow, so yeah.
Yep. I mean, that's pretty much it. There's not a ton going on right now. So yeah, also I think. Go ahead.
Guys, if you have questions, put them in the chat. We have no time to answer them. So
I know we're so busy now. We actually have a few minutes to answer them. If you guys have anything, we'll take a few more minutes. Glenn says, "Oh yeah, it's a good question. Thoughts on Chas Skelly retiring after his next fight?" He announced that today. He's fighting Mark Striegel, which is a fight he should obviously win. He was supposed to fight against Jamal Emmer. Emmer's I don't know what happened. He got sick or something and couldn't fight.
Yeah, then he was supposed to fight Trezano,
and then the fight didn't happen. So he keeps getting his fights pulled apart. I mean, Chas Skelly, I'll be honest, I don't think most people care that he's going to retire. Let's just be completely honest. I think the guy is a decent fighter, and when he was singing that, was it "Fuck Me Gently" or whatever by Tenacious D? That was the funniest thing ever. That was hilarious, or whatever it's called. That song? It's so funny. He's actually had a good career. I'm looking at his record, Marcel. You know what his record in the UFC is? 7-3-1 no contest. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. But again, I just think you ask the casual fan, they probably don't even care. And he hasn't fought in 2 years either. So, Born Again, I agree. I think that's the fight to make. I think too. Vera versus Cruz Munoz winner. Tristan says, "Does Marcel know Kamaya's next fight? I heard Kamaya Burns is rumored." That's the fight that I said right away. I just think it makes so much sense because Burns is like such a great fighter and he provides an actual test to Khamzat. If Khamzat goes and beats Burns like the way he's been beating everyone else, how do you knock him a title shot? So I think that fight makes sense. Any thoughts, Marcel? Have you heard anything?
No, nothing. But I'm gonna scoop another fight after this podcast. So not Chimaev against Burns. So no.
John saying Ariel tweeted the Twitter card. Yeah. We're just okay. So it's hybrid MMA boxing rules triangle ring. And yes, Frank Mir's fighting Kubrat Pulev, the boxer. No, I don't think that's going to happen for again. He's saying, do you think Dana goes with Rosa on Andrade 3? I saw Andrade wants the title shot. She's not getting it yet. They're going to give it to Marina Rodriguez, I believe. I do think they're going to give it to Marina because they stylistically view that, I think, as a more entertaining fight and also a fight that they probably think Rose wins. Whereas I think if they give her Carla, they see that as a fight she might lose more. So especially after watching the fight in the weekend where the first 3 rounds, she's getting controlled in the ground pretty good by Zhang. So I think it's going to be Marina Rodriguez. What do you think?
Such a bitch-ass move by the UFC if they do that. Even Marina Rodriguez said last time after a fight that Carla should be next for the title.
Yeah, I remember that. She did say that. But she also said, hey, if they offer to me, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah, obviously. You can't blame her.
No, I mean, it's her career, and she has to care about herself first, no doubt. Tristan says, does Ulanbekov deserve a ranked opponent? No, I don't think so, because that fight was pretty bad. It was a pretty bad performance by him. I mean, I thought Nascimento might have won the fight off his back, which is not a good sign. So
he's number 14.
He's number 14. Yeah. So you're right. Sorry, guys, you're right. That division, I just completely forgot. There's only like 15 guys in it. I don't know. I mean, yeah, David Dvorak, someone like that, Marcel or Amir Albazi, someone like that. I mean,
Sumadarji,
yeah. Even Tyson Nam, even he was ranked below him, maybe because again, it wasn't that impressive. He barely won that fight. He barely won. Like, I don't know if he won the fight. I think that Ben Cartledge's scorecard was really good on Nascimento, just because guys doing work off his back. By the way, what do you think about my boy Andre Muniz being kicked out of the rankings and they put in they put in Imavov, but they kept Edmund in the rankings, which I'm surprised.
It's super weird they pulled out Muniz, man. I really don't understand why. I know disrespect to Edmund, but I mean it's kind of weird when you lose, and the other guy comes in. why taking Muniz off, just like they did last time with D-Rod, taking D-Rod out,
It's just weird. Even like it's still kind of weird seeing Brad Tavares ranked above Edmund too, even though he's more consistent lately. He got kicked in the head, and that's all I remember about him. You know what I mean? So got another question here. Y'all see Francis completely ignoring Seal gone. I did see that. I posted the video on bjpen.com. Our boy Jim here in the chat, he's the one that found the video. Yeah, I mean, obviously they don't like each other, or I should say Francis doesn't like Cyril. It looked like Cyril wanted to talk to him, but Francis just didn't have anything above it.
I think it's more a coach thing. I think it's more Francis and
Fernando Lopez. Yeah, it could be too. Born again, Warren Tim Means, one of my favorite fighters. He's a big name of Lawler. He filled in for versus Perry. I agree. That would be such a good fight. Tim Means is a veteran, man. I think he's 37, I want to say. Or maybe he's 38 now. 37. Bird. Yeah, the Dirty Bird. He's turning 38 in 2 months. So, I mean, guys on a 3-fight win streak. Pardon?
Who doesn't love Tim Means? Come on.
One of my favorite fighters, man. He's been around for a while now. He really should get I think, someone close to the top 15, because when you win 3 straight fights, but again, he wasn't beating the top guys like Mike Perry, Dalby, Starpoli. They're just average guys. But I like Tim Means. I think he's underrated in general, Another question here, Tristan. You guys' opinion on do JJ versus Ghana winner? I would. She's talking about John Jones. I'd like that, but I mean, John Jones is dealing with some, legal issues right now. Not only that, but he doesn't have a camp. He's training in his garage, he said. So he's not even close to fighting anytime soon, I don't think. What are you going to say, Marcel?
I was like, why you want to have Joanna against
I thought first, and then I was like, wait a sec. He's talking about John Jones, because Double J is Joanna.
Yeah.
That's not very nice to have him fight the Ghana winner. Let me ask you a question, Marcel. What's going on with that? Because I know people are probably going to want to ask this. They've probably seen it on Twitter. What's going on with JP Baez and what's her name, Cheyenne Vlismas or whatever?
I don't know. I don't
going
know
on here?
If it's a very good thing to talk about it, because we kind of sound like TMZ here.
I know.
I don't know the facts exactly. We all saw that the UFC put on Cheyenne Vlismas right now.
And that's fair to talk about. I think that's fair to talk about.
It's kind of odd, but I don't know the real what's happening or what's going on. So I kind of don't want to insinuate anything, you know what I mean? So
yeah, no doubt about it. I know what you're saying. It's just she changed her last name. I mean, so people are going to notice and talk about it. Like, you changed her last name. If you changed your last name, Marcel, someone's going to say, "Why'd you change your last name?" They asked, if I changed mine, why'd you change it?
Yeah,
I have no idea. All I know is that after JP lost his last fight, she put a post out saying, all the trolls saying I should divorce my husband and leave him or whatever. Like, go away, like, you don't know what you're talking about. And then a few months later, Marcel, it's looking like, they might not be together. So it's actually kind of sad. I actually feel bad for JP, because I think if you look at the comments, man, people riding him so hard saying, "Oh, this guy sucks. You can't win a fight in the UFC. Why would he date? Why would this girl marry him and stuff?" It's like, so what? Just because he's not like the best in the world at his job doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve to have like a wife and be happy. People are just they're so jealous of the guy. It's pathetic, Marcel, honestly. Like, yeah, Cheyenne Baez is really good looking. And, she's a professional fighter. She has a lot going for her. But, so JP's in the UFC too. Marcel, it's not like he's some bum. The guy's a professional athlete too. You know what I mean?
Really good. He's also a really good.
He's a decent guy too. He's not a great fighter. I'm not going to put money on the guy anymore. But, yeah. And Tristan, it's true. The trolls did predict it, which is crazy. It looks like anyways. But we'll see what happens, guys, because we really have no idea. But it is strange when you change your last name. I just got to mention that. Go ahead.
It's also... If for example, those women fighters, when they marry, they're gonna change their last name. Also, like, you see how many times they changed it. I remember the Rachel Ostovich Burdon, but back to Ostovich. You got many. How do you say that?
Courtney Casey Sanchez or whatever.
Courtney Casey Sanchez, another one. There you go. Maya Stevenson is now Maya Kahaunaele again, or whatever you say it. I mean, just keep your own name, I guess. You have now Montana De La Rosa. That was Montana Stewart before. But
that's right. Married. That's another one.
You got what's her name again? Oh God, I forgot. Lisa Ward before. It's now Lisa Ellis, because she's married to Eddie Ellis, I think.
Yeah.
So
former UFC fighter too, or Ultimate Fighter guy. Yeah.
So many girls do that, and I'm always like, it's maybe not a good idea, because sometimes you have to change it back. Now you have Nina Nunes,
And this is true. This is funny because it is Amanda Cooper, but it's not ABC anymore. It's ACB now, so that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So it happens often, and I'm always like, listen, man, now you have Joanne Calderwood who got married with John Wood, I think. Would be funny.
It's Joanne Calderwood Wood, right?
Woodwood.
That's funny.
Woody Woodpecker.
That's funny. All right, let me get this comment. That's funny. Borgen said, should Bellator sign Anderson and fight Fader? I think when I say Ariel suggested that, I think I would watch that fight. I mean, Anderson shouldn't be fighting heavyweight, but it would be a fun fight for the fans. But I think they're going to do Brian Bader probably versus Fader. Probably give him that title shot, even though he shouldn't. But they probably give it to him. Also, he asked about Arnold Allen. I have no clue. He doesn't fight that often. Also, this is
he was supposed to fight Josh Emmett and UFC 269. But
yeah, Josh Emmett's fighting Dan
Ige.
Yeah. And our boy Cole broke that story. Tristan, he says, this is from Aaron's tweet. It's talking about Colby's thing, the takedown attempt, and they're basically saying he has to attain a controlling ground position. Someone posted the fight between Jan Kutalaba and Dustin Jacoby where they counted like 9 takedowns. Watch that fight, look at the takedowns. It was like those things where they takes him down really quick and stands back up, but they counted them for the takedown or so.
They just want to keep this 100%
takedown. Guys, that's really what it looks like. Let's be completely honest with here. I think these guys have I wouldn't want to do the stats counting more. I couldn't imagine enjoying the fight, counting every stat, every punch, every kick, every takedown. Like it must not be enjoyable. But having said that, I do think they do a decent job. But in this particular case, I think that's a takedown. I've seen you look at the photo, Marcel, you look at the screen capture. He's on the ground, man. That's a takedown. Oregon says he's looking forward to Duplessis Muniz. Me too. So Muniz has a new opponent, Marcel. Is that can we announce that or?
I'm gonna do that after the podcast. So
just say it now because you're gonna announce it anyways. What's the fight?
Okay, the fight is
breaking news, guys. Breaking news.
Andre Muniz is fighting Eric Anders.
So wait, so they just basically pushed Anders back from this card this weekend?
I don't know why he couldn't fight this weekend, but he's fighting Eric Anders. So I'm going to tweet that out.
Well, I mean, Andre Muniz is going to be a big favorite in that fight. We'll just say that right now. Yeah. So there you go, guys. Breaking news on the podcast today, Marcel. Andre Muniz, and that's at 269. That's replacing.
Yeah, it's 269. Yeah.
That card's fucking stacked. I can't wait for that one. All right, I think that's going to be it for today's podcast, guys. Really appreciate it. All you guys tuning in. Marcel, thanks again, man. Let's plug our stuff. Let's get out of here.
Big Marcel24, Twitter, Instagram, MMADNA.nl on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
Yeah, let me get these comments and I'll plug my stuff. Tristan was asked. This is the last question I'll take, Tristan. Is Leon automatically next? Yes. I as long as he wins the fight against Masvidal, he gets the title shot because he's won. He's on a 10. It'll be 11 fight winning streak at that, or unbeaten streak because he has the no contest. Thanks for the news, Marcel. And then solid fight. Andrews will test if he's in the feet, which I don't know if he will. I think Muniz wins that fight. Anyways, follow me on Twitter at MMAOB Podcast. Available at MMAOddsBreaker.com. It's on our YouTube channel. It's on iTunes, Spotify, all those places, guys. Also find me at BJPen.com, MiamiNews.com, the All-Star, Elite Fantasy, Elite Sports Betting, and Bookies. We're back on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern with Marcel to recap this card. Have a great weekend, guys. Hope you enjoy the fights and make some money. Have a great one, guys. Peace.